All right, let's go to the phones, and we'll talk with Paul. Good morning, Paul. Welcome to 104.1 The Truth.
Good morning, John. How are you today?
I'm doing all right.
Listen, I just wanted to make the comment that nothing has really changed before even the Affordable Care Act was even enacted. Employers have always cut hours of employees to make them part-time so they wouldn't have to give benefits. I mean, if you go to even the TMC, UMC, any hospital, those techs will be on 36 hours, because if they go to 40 hours, then they would have to pay them they would have to give them insurance and things of that nature. Nothing has really changed. The Affordable Care Act has basically gave them a statutory mandate to do the things that they have been doing all the time.
Okay, so since employees in the past, since businesses in the past, I want to follow the logic here. So since businesses in the past have cut employees' hours before, it's totally cool that companies are now cutting the hours of employees because of the Affordable Care Act. So it's totally fine and acceptable that Patrick over here, through no fault of his own and through no fault of the company, remember, Paul, the company hasn't changed at all. The company isn't making less money. It hasn't diminished profits, but the government is mandating now that they have to require health insurance. So they're being forced, if they want to stay in business, to make these cuts. Patrick, for the next year, is going to make less money and still not going to have access to any kind of cheaper health care until next year. And this is totally acceptable to you because employers in the past have cut hours, so really what's changed?
What's acceptable to me is that people who would not have had any type of health insurance coverage before will now have it, and that people with pre-existing conditions will now have health care coverage.
But he's not. But Paul, you realize he is for a year now, for a whole year. He is now going to be making less money through no fault of his own or the company and have no access to cheaper health care, on top of the fact that he will now be required by the government. He'll be required by the government to purchase health care, and while making less money when those exchanges are available. How is that fair?
Can I say this?
Sure.
You're putting all of the culpability of this situation upon the Affordable Health Care Act. Don't you think the employer has the same culpability? Before, these people would have been working 36 hours without any health coverage at all.
That's their choice. If he needs to go get something taken care of, there are places where he can go get things taken care of and pay for out of pocket. That's his choice.
So what you're saying is, give you a perfect example, there's only two places that I know of that in the past poor people were able to get health care coverage no matter what their situation. One was the Elizabeth Seton healthcare clinic, and the other was El Rio. All right, so two places in the entire city to serve the indigent and the poor in the city. See, this is. I mean, we can sit up here and just debate this situation ad nauseum.
Right, and you'd be wrong. How is this? No, you're not explaining to me.
Can I finish?
Well, let me know. Okay, finish. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so what I'm saying is this: the reason why we have election campaigns and elections is because we have a difference of opinion. That does not make me stupid because I disagree with you, John. And so what I'm saying to you
it does.
is this.
I think you're stupid. If you voted for Obama, and this is a ramification, and you support Obamacare, yes, in my opinion, Paul, you're stupid because this is horrible.
Right, so what I'm saying is when you call your brother stupid,
yeah,
it's an insult,
right?
And it's wrong, John.
No, it's not.
Just because
it's an opinion.
No, it's wrong.
I'm watching a guy.
I don't want to get this into a
yeah, because Paul,
I want to get into a religious discussion with you.
You want to get into a religious? I don't want to get into Okay, yeah, we're not getting into a religious discussion. What I'm getting into is a right or wrong discussion, and I want to know how is it?
The Bible says when you call your brother stupid that you're wrong. So, but what I'm saying to you is this: When you
What verse is that in, by the way? What Bible verse is that? What book?
I'll get it to you.
Oh yeah, get it to me. Give me the chapter and verse where it says, "You call your brother stupid, you're wrong."
I'll get it to you today.
All right, that'd be cool.
Okay.
All right.
So what I'm saying, all I'm saying is, John, between me and you, when you call somebody stupid and you call me stupid, it hurts.
Stop. Okay, Paul, no offense, I don't really care if it hurts your feelings. Let me get back to the matter at hand. No, it doesn't. Paul, get back to the question at hand. Is it fair? Is it fair? Is it right that I'm looking at guys that work for me through no fault of their own, who are having their hours cut by their company, through no fault of the company? The company's doing a fine job. The government is mandating this. They're going to get their hours cut because the company needs to stay in business, and they still don't have any access to cheaper health care for the next year, and they're going to be making money. That's question one. Is that right?
This is what it is. That's the company's decision. The company did not have to cut these people out.
Yes, they did.
That's the decision that they made.
Right, because the company needs to stay in business, or you guess what? Nobody has jobs.
That's because the people have mandated that.
So the companies are.
People have mandated during the election that with the Affordable Care Act that these people deserve to have health insurance coverage. I believe they deserve it.
Deserve. So now again, it's born on the backs of everybody. See, you know what, Paul? At the start of the show, I made the comment. At the start of this hour, I said what Obamacare is going to do is it's going to continue to perpetuate the class warfare, and it's going to go and vilify and demonize companies that are going to have to stay in business and protect their bottom line. And you just made my point. You're putting all the onus on the companies, saying, oh, it's unfair that the companies are going to be cutting hours of individuals. It's unfair that the government is mandating that they're going to have to pay more money. That's what's unfair.
Well, you know that before we even had this discussion, people were getting their health care from emergency rooms.
Right. And
during slavery time, we had in full employment.
We're not talking about slavery. Paul, if Patrick walks out the door and gets hit by a car and ends up in the hospital will care for him and ensure that his life, if they can, will be saved. But guess what? He'll still be responsible to have to pay that cost.
Even if he goes to the emergency room, guess what they're going to do? They're going to send him a bill, and he will have to figure out a way to pay for it. Collection agency, and if he doesn't have the money, he still won't pay for it. What I'm saying to you is that it should be a cost of doing business, just like a business has to pay for the electricity to keep the lights on, has to pay for advertising. Like if you have a product, you can choose not to advertise.
Is he making you feel any better there, Patrick? Is Paul making you feel any better? Right? And now if you're feeling better about having your hours cut, is Paul making you feel better because you're going to be able to, get some cheaper health care in a year?
John, like you always say, he should go and get another job.
No. That's the different scenario. No, that's the different scenario here. You're right, and I said that earlier, Paul. Paul. No, it's not. No, it's not. There's a massive, huge gap between a company that's not doing well and a company that's not being successful that has to go and cut hours. You're absolutely right. You choose where you work. But you know what? Regardless of where these guys go to work, it doesn't matter. It's across the board. The government is forcing businesses into this position. That is an undisputable fact. There is a huge difference between that and a company not being able to stay afloat because of the service they're providing. That's different. Huge difference.
To me, it's the cost of doing business. There's another parameter that makes the cost of doing business a little higher. And just like you always, matter of fact, during the campaign, I've heard you say several times, especially when Obama decided to loan the automobile companies money. You used to say that let the chips fall where they may.
Exactly. They shouldn't have bailed them out. You know what? Hostess.
Right. So it's the same thing, John.
Hostess didn't get bailed out, and no, it's not. How is it the same thing from the auto manufacturers? This is not. This is not.
Cost of doing business.
No, Paul.
Let me finish. If you have to pay insurance when you have to pay for your employees' health insurance, your employees, the people who are a major part of your success and your failure. If you have to ensure these people to make sure that them and their families will remain healthy, it should be the cost of doing business.
Paul, there's a difference between, and you need to wrap your head around this, a difference between the government and the free market. If it's a free market situation and auto manufacturers are failing because of their inability to sell cars, and the free market dictates that they're not going to make as much money because they're not buying the automobiles, that's one thing. It's entirely different when the government steps in and mandates that individuals are going to have to purchase health care, and employers are going to be forced to provide health care for anybody making over 30 hours a week. Now, again,
I think it's like football.
Patrick doesn't have any health care cheaper for a year, and he's going to make less money. That is not right.
In football, if you double team...
Oh, Paul, you know what, Paul? Stop. No, I'm not going to let you finish because you're not dealing with real-world scenarios. You keep giving me fantasy land. You're not talking facts. You're not answering the question.
And just because you loud talk me doesn't mean that you know more right or wrong.
No, I do know. In this circumstance, I do know more right than wrong. And what's happening is wrong. It's wrong. Right, and your opinion is wrong.
No. You have the right to say that I'm stupid.
You are stupid. You voted for Obama. You're a stone-cold idiot.
Well, I can say the same thing about you, man.
I didn't vote for Obama, so you can't say the same thing about me. Hey, man, I'm on a break, and I've talked to you way too long. I can't. I'm forced to have to, make sure that we keep the station afloat.
You make the rules, man.
I do. You're right. I do, Paul. You know what? It's the luxury of having my name on the show. Sorry, Patrick. I'll get you some free flowers from ProFlowers, though. All right? Your phone call's coming up. It's 104.1 The Truth.